Today I am officially applying for German citizenship, and I want to tell you all about why. So let's go on a trip, let's have a chat. So let's dive right into it with the first reason why I want German citizenship, why I want the irrevocable right to live here forever. And that's easy. It's the public transit, the lack of car dependence, and just why these day trips are so simple from Munich. The trains, the S-Bahns, the U-Bahns, the trams is all just too good. Getting around Munich, this city that I have called home for the last 5 years, just could not be easier. Yet, it doesn't stop here either. Once we make it to the Munich Hauptbahnhof, as always, our connections explode. Regional rail crisscrossing all of Bavaria, intercity trains, high-speed rails to the major cities, and that's not all. We have long distance and even night trains to places like Paris, Vienna, Rome, all of Europe, from the biggest world-renowned cities to the tiniest villages that no one has ever heard of. It's all just so easy to be connected to. And I must lament that I don't think I'll ever actually ride all of this rail. And God knows, I am trying. This channel is testament to that, with well over 100 videos, 99% using public transit. I'm trying to see it all, but there's just too much of it. And I know, skeptics out there, you're gonna say, Ben, you love trains back in America, of course you love trains in Germany. That's not particularly special, and I agree. I did love trains then, and I do love trains now. However, even with all of that, I still didn't truly understand how much of a positive impact the German rail system would have on my life. And I was pre-biased to like it. From everyday chores, visiting friends, commuting to work, to going on world-class vacations. I mean, it's just integrated my life so much better. No longer am I waiting to go on epic trips for, once or twice a year when I can get the time. I'm taking long, cheeky weekends to Vienna, and it's incredible. But today, it's not about the big, bombastic locations. It's about what I love even more, those tiny towns. So I'm gonna take you on a place that, as a local, I have been wanting to show you for years. Bad Tölz, barely an hour away, right from the Munich Hauptbahnhof. Let's go check it out, right? That was a fantastic ride, as it usually is. In just an hour from leaving my apartment door, whisked from city to beautiful village. What more could you ask for? Bye, train. Now I should briefly actually explain where we are, as we've never done a complete guide to Bad Tölz before on this channel. And I know this isn't a travel video, but I'm not gonna be able to help myself now, am I? Because this town is fantastic. It really pops in the summer, but as a local to Munich, it's so close by, I end up here almost every season. Why? It's beautiful. The cafes are amazing, there's a restaurant I love, and there's even a micro hike that you go up the hill and get an amazing panorama of the town itself. I mean, what is there not to love? And now that I say it out loud, maybe we should do a complete guide here. Comment below if you'd be interested. Before we get into the next reason why I want citizenship though, you want to get coffee and cake first?
Yeah.
You want to go check out the counter, look at the cake?
Yeah.
The selection is intense.
Die Schokosahne. Für Sie?
Was ist das da?
Das eine ist Himbeersahne und das andere ist Kirschsahne. Kirschsahne ist auch Hamburger Weichsel.
Got it. It's cash only, of course. Ich nehme bitte diese Kirschsahne.
Ja.
I am so excited. I didn't even think we were getting cake today. At least I didn't actively say today's a cake day, but I guess every time you go out to a cool village or town, it's secretly a cake day after all. Usually they don't have the kind of wild chocolate cake selection that they've had today, and it's a triple chocolate cream cake. It looks incredible. It's really good. Oh, it's like a proper white chocolate cream. What I love the most about German cream, though, and I know that feels like a really weird detail to focus in on, but it's never too sweet. In America, when I would get like cream on frappuccinos or on cakes and things like that, it was always a bit oily and just incredibly sweet. This, it's so much more balanced. You can actually taste the white chocolate through the cream itself. This cake is so good. You would hate this. I mean, there are a lot of reasons to go for German citizenship, and we'll keep talking about all of them, but honestly, this is the only reason that matters. That was absolutely wonderful. Coffee and cake always is, but now that we are settled and satiated, it's time to get back to business and to why I want to become a German citizen. And the second major reason is this: the commitment to beautiful, walkable spaces. I mean, need I really say more? I don't think so, but I will anyway. More so than anywhere else I have ever lived, Germany chooses to maintain the health and vitality of its villages, towns, and even cities with pedestrian friendliness. And it clearly works. Because at the end of the day, beautiful, walkable streets like these, lined with restaurants, cafes, shops, and residences, all mixed together, where people can live their lives at the human scale, going to work, going shopping, meeting friends, all in one place, is self-evident, right? This is a better way to live than in a more car-dependent town that requires that you live alone in a bubble and drive at least 20 minutes to go and accomplish anything whenever you need to. This is just better, and it's more beautiful too. And that is exactly how I used to live back in the United States as well. Car dependent, and not by choice either. It was the only option. Unless you find this to be an unfair comparison, A, I'm just talking about my lived experiences here, and B, in both cases, I lived in supposedly walkable cities, Washington, D.C., and now in Munich. That's the comparison I'm making. And I can tell you that the proof was only in one pudding. In one place I needed a car, and in another, I don't. And I am not anti-car by any means. I actually quite like them. But what I don't like is being forced to use a car and mixing them in the pedestrian spaces. Cars and people, we're not friends, we shouldn't be hanging out. What's more though, if we combine point 1, trains, with point 2, walkability, they have this absolutely amazing multiplicative effect together. One beautiful, nice, walkable place connected easily to all of the other beautiful, nice, walkable places. I mean, it's just incredible, and it makes day trips just like this and every other day trip on this channel a breeze, which is why you should like, comment, and subscribe. Now, a quick clarification before we move on, as there is a very common myth that I feel obliged to dispel, and that's that the walkability we experience here in Germany is due to history, and that over in North America, their car-centric design is due to a lack of history, and that just could not be further from the truth. Europe, the same as America, fell in love with car-centric design at the exact same time. All throughout the 20th century, historic neighborhoods, beautiful streets were destroyed to widen them and make room for highways, interstates, and the like. It happened in both continents. Just look at these before and after pictures of popular modern European cities. You see the difference? And that's that Europe didn't inherit its walkability, it reclaimed it. People made mistakes, they got too excited by the automobile, and people then had to fix those mistakes and advocate for walkability to return. So keep that in mind, because anywhere you see a lack of walkability, it can be fixed. It has been fixed. And once I get my German passport, those are the exact kind of policies that I personally will be voting for. And now, after 5 years living in these walkable spaces, I don't really think I could ever go back to that old normal that I was once so accustomed to. And becoming such a car-free advocate as I have happened entirely by accident. This was never something I was particularly passionate about or really thought too much of. It just kind of happened naturally by moving here to Germany. In fact, when we landed, I had already squirreled away a few $1,000s ready to buy a car the moment I landed. I was even excited about buying a good old Bavarian car or maybe a cute little Mini, something fun to drive around, but in the hustle and bustle of moving here, I never went to the dealership. I never bought a car. I never needed to until all of a sudden, months had gone by. And I thought maybe it'd be more fun to spend that money on a camera and going on some trips and starting a YouTube channel. The car? Never needed it. So now hopefully a lot of you out there are starting to understand why I am so excited to gain German citizenship and have permanent access to all of this. And maybe you're starting to think you might like citizenship for yourself as well. So let's quickly go over these broad legal changes that are so exciting and going into effect this year. Rule change number 1, dual citizenship is now permitted. As it used to be, if you wanted to become German, you had to renounce all other citizenships, which naturally makes it a much harder decision to make. Do you really want to lose access to all of your other passports? Maybe I would have anyway, but now all of those headaches are gone. You can be a dual citizen. Rule change number 2, the length of residency requirement has been shortened. This is a very common rule for almost all citizenships across the world, and the amount of time you have to reside in the country before you can apply, well, it varies from around 10 years, which is pretty common, to like 30 in the extreme end. But now, Germany has shortened the minimum length of stay for you to apply for citizenship down to 5 years. And only 3 if you can prove advanced integration. This makes German citizenship one of the quickest you can acquire in the whole world. And 3, there are some things that actually haven't changed, but they're worth mentioning. Anyway, of course, you can't be a convicted criminal, you can't be under active investigation, you have to actively accept the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Germany, and of course, you have to pass the naturalization test, all relatively easy things to do. But there is one requirement that I think a few people might find a little bit more challenging than you'd expect, and that's that you have to show a strong proficiency in the written and oral German language, including having passed a B1 CEFR examination. Now, I personally haven't actually sat for a B1 exam, and I think I could probably wing it, but with something so important, I don't want to leave my language skill to chance. Now, before I can actually go and sit down and take the official B1 examination, I need to be studying German as hard as I can, in as many ways as I can, reading books, listening to podcasts, and naturally taking online lessons with this week's video sponsor, Lingoda, an online language learning school that I absolutely love. With Lingoda Teams, you'll be assigned 5 classmates, keeping the class size small and a consistent teacher to meet with 2 to 3 times per week. And this consistency comes with so many benefits that are rare in online classes. Because you are with the same group of people, you genuinely get to know each other, and thusly, you start feeling more comfortable participating in class and making mistakes in front of each other, because you're all on the same team. And because you have the same teacher each week, they get to see your progression class after class. Meaning, if you make a little mistake one day, if you're just feeling a bit off, they know it. They know your recurring habits, they know what you're good at, they know what you're bad at, and they can give you the best help possible. I have genuinely loved being a part of Lingoda Teams. And they have too. I think it is a fantastic offering and it perfectly complements everything else I love about Lingoda. So if that sounds interesting to you, which it definitely should, then of course, link in the description box below on screen now. Use that link to get a special early bird discount, considering you're hearing about this offer from an early bird themselves. Use the code to let them know that you're coming from us and get a little bonus off as well. And hey, you never know. If you sign up for a team, maybe we'll even be teammates. Now, I will say, walking around town all day talking about everything I love about Germany, well, it has worked up a mighty fine thirst for a good quality Bavarian beer. So we're gonna exit the town, cross the bridge. It is unfortunately a little bit more car-centric. We're gonna go to this cafe. I'm gonna get myself that beer, and afterwards, well, we'll hike along the river. We'll go to that beautiful church and overlook point for sunset. And I'll tell you my last reason for why I really want German citizenship. But it's a little bit personal, so stick around for that. Prost, everybody. I mean, let's be clear, right? This is the real reason I want citizenship. That, the food, the cake, the coffee. We could talk about all the philosophical reasons all we want. It's really just for beer. And to eat, we went with a leek and cheese Flammkuchen, kind of like a German flatbread pizza. I absolutely love these things, and they pair beautifully with the beer. It's so simple. It's so good though. Oh, it's kind of my favorite thing to get at the Christmas markets, but I get it all year round. If there is anywhere I like more than pedestrian-friendly town centers, it's probably pedestrian-friendly river walkways. They always come with swans. I love swans. I don't think he loves me. All right, guys, it's time. Let's get into it. For the last major reason why I really want German citizenship, we need to talk about work-life balance, because the German attitude towards this is something I deeply respect. However, given my upbringing and experiences in the United States, it's something I also deeply struggle with. And now I know, a passport isn't exactly going to change that, but the longer I live here, the better I get at it. So I think there's still a little bit of hope. Now, of course, this topic is deeply personal and everyone's experiences will differ, but at least for me, what I'd like to do is share a few key stories from back in the United States and here in Germany that really illuminated this cultural difference for me. Oh my God, there's a really cool swan. Oh, that's beautiful. You see, I was hit with a massive culture shock the very first time I received a German work contract. It was tiny, barely 2 pages even, and that's not what I was used to. In the United States, we would get these massive contracts filled to the brim with benefits, a dizzying array of options that was just incredibly overwhelming. What different healthcare plan could you do? We offer 5, pick one. Which pension scheme do you want to be in? We offer all these different matching types if you follow all these specific rules. It was really complicated, and ultimately, all the options are rather underwhelming. But these options are vital. In the United States, the conversation around these benefits is equally, if not more important than the salary itself, and that was the mind space I was in reading through the German contract. So I turn to my German boss and I say, as I was trained to do, all right, contract looks good, salary looks fine, but what are the benefits of working for this German company? And he looked at me like I was an alien. What do you mean benefits? And I was like, well, you know, I clarified. Well, how many vacation days do I get? How many sick days do I get? What healthcare options and pension options do you have? To which he responded classically and simply as any German would, we give you the same as everybody else. Which is to say, well, healthcare is your choice, public, private, whatever you want, we'll just pay what we need to. Same goes for pension, we'll pay into the state pension like we're supposed to. As for vacation days, well, 20 is the government mandated minimum, but most companies offer somewhere between 25 and 30, so that's what we'll do. And of course, sick days, those are unlimited. Who would put a cap on sick days? If you're sick, you cannot work, so you must stay home, and who knows how long that will last. And there you go. Negotiation was over. Just like that, I signed the contract and we moved on. But it left me with a very weird feeling. I didn't say this to my boss at the time, but what he had just said about vacation days, and especially sick days, had blown my mind. You see, when I was working in the United States, I had a government job with the state of Virginia working at one of their public universities. And any American can tell you, especially one on the East Coast, that government jobs are the best. They don't pay quite as well, but their benefits, no one can match them. I was given 5 sick days per year and 10 vacation days per year. And the state of Virginia, the federal government of the United States as well, doesn't actually mandate that you are given any paid sick leave or any paid vacation days. So that paltry sum felt like I was being done a favor, felt like I should be grateful that I was getting anything at all, and I was. I was blinded by the normalcy of it all. Oh boy. This is way harder to talk about than I thought it was gonna be. I've known all day, I've known all week that we're gonna come here, we were gonna do this, and I was gonna tell this story, but now that it's time to talk about it, I'm pretty emotional. So back in my early 20s, when I was working that government job, one of my friends, my mentors at the time, a really good colleague, he became really ill, and he burned through those 5 vacation days immediately. And I was talking to him on the phone one day and he said, I just wish I had some vacation days that I could burn because we need to keep the money flowing. But he had burned all of his vacation days, as he said, his words not mine, on a trip with his family. A trip with his family that he regretted now having taken because he had no more paid days off. He was now not being paid. I had no idea what to say to any of that. I mean, good luck, I wish you well, here's a get well card. But I didn't know what to do. Later that very same day though, I got a bulk email from the university, at least in our department, right, that said, hey, so-and-so is really ill and we all wish them well, but they can't be paid. So could you, the employees, donate your sick days to them so that we could keep paying them? Would you consider donating your vacation days to them? That would be so wonderful for them to still be paid during this traumatic moment of their life. And it was all put on us. It was our job to fix it. And of course, I was young, I was fit, I was healthy. I donated everything that I could. Many of us in that department donated everything that we could spare so that they could still being paid, and we all felt like champs for doing so. But my coworker stayed sick. He burned through those donated days within like a month because even though we gave all we could, how much did we actually have to spare? Not so much. And he was let go not that long after that. He was fired, essentially, for being ill, for being unpaid, and for no one knowing when he would come back. Virginia is a work-at-will state. That means you can quit whenever you want for any reason, but it also means you can be fired at any time for almost any reason. And so, he was let go, and we were all left without an amazing asset, and they were left with God knows what their situation must have been like. And there were ramifications of those decisions for us too in the department. None of us had sick leave or barely any vacation at all left. And so in an ironic twist, I have never been more sick more times in my life than that year because nobody dared stay home. With no sick days, you came in when you were sick. You spread the illness around back and forth, and we all knew what would happen if we took time off. We would get fired. The message was clear. So we all trudged through until the end of the year and we would get our new fresh days back, absolutely sick as dogs. It was one of the most miserable times of my life. For my coworker, for my coworkers who were left, and for me. It was terrible. Not a bad view to end off the day and the video with, huh? It's absolutely magical. But hopefully now, with everything we've seen, everything we've talked about today, I hope you can understand why in 2024, there is nothing I would rather do than apply for German citizenship. And I'm also deeply grateful that the government is making naturalization easier. Because, I mean, as is clear, there's a great thing going on here, and if you ask me, the more, the merrier. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for bearing with me, letting me get a little bit emotional, but this has been a lot of fun for me to create. I hope it has been a lot of fun for you to watch, but please leave your support in the comments below. I don't know how this video is gonna do, so maybe consider sharing it with your friends. That's really the most helpful thing. Subscribe if you're not part of the Near From Home community, and I will see you in the next video, wherever that might be.